Americans, other friends, subscribers around the world. Back here, man. So, down here on the, that's some water. I also really don't want to go swimming. Down here on the other end of my property, and look at that. I don't know what, one of my wash pans. This is downstream from the cabin and everything. I have no idea how that old wash pan got down here. Obviously it, and I have no clue. I don't think it was in the, down in the creek where it, crazy, man. Some of the things that go on, you just, Anyway, man, you can see the sun's coming up through the trees, and it is cold this morning. We'll talk about that. We're gonna go ahead and head over to the trading post, man, and we'll get back with you over there. All right, man. So I'm out at the trading post here, getting ready to do some listing. You know, if you watch our videos, if you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. You can see that I've changed. Man, I got a big stack. Whoa, I've got a big stack of books here. Getting ready to conquer this spot here. I told Miss Kitty I want to make a place here so that we can dance. So anyway, man, I'm gonna go over, you know, every day, man. Every day, it's always something in these crazy times. So, my dang seat. I got to get situated. Alright, so let's touch on a few things here. Alright, first let's talk about, you know, I ponder it a lot, man, and think about it a lot, is trying to come up with ways, you know, to stay away from the, you know, the powers be, poisons, and, you know, chemicals and everything, man. I've been actually the last, I started, Miss Kitty showed me this. I'm going to read this article to you here in a minute, but, you know, and it's so beyond just that, man. These are, you know, I was reading one thing, and did you know, man, and you can research, do all you want, you know, these are the facts. I actually kind of backed up these two just to see it somewhere, you know, so I read a couple of things on it, because at first I'm just like, no dang way. But do you know how many apples that you would have to eat today to get the same nutrients and vitamins that my parents' age? So that would be for somebody in their 70s, 80s. Do you know how many apples we would have to eat equivalent to get the same vitamins and everything out of their one apple? 5. You have to eat 5 apples today than you did, say, back in 1960s. You know, but then I wonder, so then I question, you know, because, man, the hillbilly questions everything. So then I was like, well, what about my kids? You know, what about my own apple trees and my kids' apple trees, you know? And, man, there was tons of orchards. There's a place I'd love to buy, man. It's an old orchard, man, and raise hogs on there. I think that'd be so awesome. Anyway, what about those apples that ain't getting sprayed and all that stuff? So, you got to think into that, you know, and read into that more. But I was blown away on that. The other one that I was blown away, how many, now this is from equivalent to, I think it was 1945, a carrot from 1945, how many carrots, hey, to get the, what is it, in the bison, or, anyway, man, I can't remember exactly, but to get the same vitamins and nutrients out of a carrot today, how many do you think you have to eat? Wait for it. 100. 100 carats compared to a carrot from the 1940s. That's crazy, man. You know, if you don't believe me, you think I'm full of crap, then just do your own dang research, man. So, I'm going to, let me get this right here. I'm not going to read this whole article. I'm just going to touch on this. This is one thing that just really just, and of course, Hillbilly questions everything. But, you know, in these times, and you get thinking, you know, what can I do to protect, you know, me and Miss Kitty, my grandkids, and my kids from all the toxins and poisons, you know, not even counting the new crap that they're trying to do. They're trying to kill us. What could I do? You know, so, you know, man, we eat lots of wild meats, man. We forage for stuff. You know, I totally believe they're dropping shit out of the air, too, so that's a whole different program. But, so, man, I've been pondering on that, thinking, what could I do, you know, besides stocking up, you know, and having an elk. I actually got half a deer coming over and half an elk or something, man, here pretty soon, a quarter elk. Anyway, that aside. So what else can I do besides putting up, you know, game birds and deer and elk and all that? And I was like, well, you know, because I always fall back on fishing for everything. So, man, I was telling Miss Kitty, you know, man, I want to go up above, you know, go up to the headwaters and stuff, go up and, you know, catch some fish, you know, where you're not catching the planters and all that, you know, get some native fish and some, you know, get up away from all that stuff, you know, and catch a mess of fish, you know, and put some fish up, man, dry some fish, smoke some fish, you know, and stuff like that, you know, for a healthier thing. So, you know, this is something I've been pondering, talking about, you know, which we always do anyway, but this would just be putting up a little more, you know, for longer term. So then she finds this yesterday. So I'm going to read. I'm not going to read the whole dang thing, but I'm going to read some of it to you. She finds this. Eating one wild fish is same as a month of drinking tainted water study. So here you go. Eating one freshwater fish caught in a river or lake in the United States is the equivalent of drinking a month's worth of water contaminated with toxic forever chemicals. New research said on Tuesday. The invisible chemicals called PFAS were first developed in the 1940s to resist water and heat, and are now used in such items as nonstick pans, textiles, fire suppression foams, and food packing. But the indestructibility of the PFAS and this word, man, polyfluoroalkyl or something substances means the pollutants have built up over time in the air, soil, lakes, rivers, food, drinking water, and even our bodies. There have been growing calls for stricter regulation on the PFAS, which have been linked to a range of serious health issues, including liver damage, high cholesterol, reduced immune responses, and several kinds of cancer. To find out the PFAS contamination in locally caught fish, a team of researchers analyzed more than 500 samples from rivers and lakes across the United States between 2013 and 15. The median level of PFAS in the fish was 9,500 nanograms per kilogram. Yeah, now we're getting crazy. Kilogram per those science numbers, according to the new study published in the Journal of Environmental Research. So I'm not, man, going to continue on. And this article came out, that was January 17th. So yesterday, man, Tuesday, yesterday. So then, then the hillbilly, man, hillbilly questions everything. So then my thinking is, okay, so they've done this, all the way across the United States. And what about, my mountains, man? So like I said, what about if I go up to the headwaters, and I'm catching fish, man, and in the case of this, what about the smaller fish, man? I wonder if you were going with the, 7 to 10 inchers and not the big ones. I don't know, man. I just found that, I don't know if you'd say interesting, heartbreaking I think is the word I would probably use for that. Just, so... I wish there was some kind of test thing that I could, it might be, man, some kind of test thing where I could test that myself, just to see. Because that makes me very curious about, because I fish a lot of places, catch a lot of native fish. And, man, my favorite ones are probably like the 7 or 10 inchers out of them little cricks, man, them little brookies. Man, gut them out and put a little salt, man. I eat the bones and all, man. Put a little freaking Cajun seasoning on them bad boys. Woo, them's good. And I love smoking them. So there it is, man. There's, I just try to keep you updated and put the little news that I get out there. All right, so on to the next. The next issue. There's a lot of issues, man. I ain't addressing them all. I ain't got time. But I thought I'd talk a little bit about, I actually wrote a couple things down here just to remind me of things I wanted to mention. All right, so let's talk a little bit about, I haven't heard too much about it lately. And it's along with chickens, with the chickens. And my thinking on that, not just the chicken food, which I'm working on some things on that I don't, you got to kind of think outside the box and do your own thing. And then like I've said, man, some things I just don't want to put out out anywhere, not that I wouldn't share, especially if it helped you, but man, if it's something that somebody, powers be, hasn't thought of, man, it's not like you want to bring that to their attention. So, anyway, one of the things, and you haven't heard about it much and all that, and whether it's as big of a deal, I think, they're going to make it bigger than it might really be or any of that. But it does exist, man, and it's happened. But it's the bird flu. You haven't heard too much about that lately. So the bird flu. And my thinking on that, the bird flu, and I live in we have a big flyaway or whatever you want to call it, man, during the, late or during the fall, man. You've heard them in the background, man. The geese flying over and the ducks flying over and the swans. I mean, huge flyaway over the top of the Crick Bottom. So you think about that, and if the geese or the ducks or whatever birds it is, not counting all the hundreds of different birds that I have, that are down here in my Crick Bottom, but they're flying over, and they do their business, and it comes down, what I mean? By the time that it hits down here, I mean, there's sometimes it's pretty big, but by the time it hits down here, a lot of times it's just small, and, obviously tons of it you just never see. I have had chickens off and on my whole life and have always free ranged them, man. I'm a total true believer in the free range, man. They keep the bugs down, man. You don't have to feed them as much. They're getting all the nutrients and all the great stuff from the whole Crick Bottom. But with the bird flu and my thing on the bird flu, that is why I built a yard with a roof over it for my chickens. And I don't plan on free ranges as much as it breaks my heart. I think keeping them under a roof, if any of this is true, I think keeping them under a roof is the best thing to do. Especially when you have as many birds flying over and as many birds as I have down in here in the Crick Bottom. And the one thing that I've ran into is I've got to actually put smaller wire, because man, the little sparrows they can actually get through the chicken wire. So I'm going to end up making it so that even the sparrows can't get in there. You know, and then I've seen some stuff on the places, you know, some people, man, to prevent bird flu, like if it's going around, where they're wearing those shoe cover shoe mittens, I don't know what they're called, into there, that, you know, so that they actually put those little footsie things on and go into their chicken pen so they ain't spread it there. I ain't going that far. And, you know, you can say it's a good idea, you can say it's a bad idea, but it's my idea. This is my own thing. And would I much rather have my chickens, you know, and then we're planning on getting turkeys this spring, and all of them are going to stay under a roof, man, just in case, because who the hell knows what is coming, what they're doing. I mean, dude, like I said, they're dropping crap on us from the skies too. If you don't believe that, then you probably ought to do some research on that too. I ain't trying to go down no rabbit hole, but dude, they're trying to kill us. Man, I'm telling you, dude, they're trying to thin us out. So anyway, so man, along that lines, I'm going to read this. Take a puff off the old pipes. So tasty. So tasty. So one of our viewers, friends, sent this message. So I emailed her and made sure she didn't mind if I read this on here, because she actually... this message actually touches on some of the things that I was just talking about. And, you know, there's so many, man, I get so many different messages, you know, from different people, whether it be a short one on the video, you know, to a longer one for an email or whatever. And there's so many people that believe and the same way I do, and just what I was just talking about, you know, if you don't, that's one of the reasons that we all love our country, is because you can believe and say, you know, you're supposed to. Anyway, they're changing all that, but believe what you want, man. So anyways, I'm going to read this. I'm going to leave her name and where she's from out. So here we go. Howdy to the hillbillies. We watch your videos almost daily and we love them. Thank you. We watched your video today on the chicken feed, and as sad and sick as it is very true. They are not only doing it with chicken feed, but also with cattle feed, hog feed, just about any kind of feed that you can name, so that these animals will not produce as they are supposed to, which is just another way to control not only the people, but also the food we can produce to feed ourselves, which is absolutely control the food, control the water, you know, control the power, the heat, the power, whatever, to control the people. That's what they're trying to do. Absolutely. Let's take a look back at history when they took, I love this. It was the part I was like, man, I want to share this with, because I've thought this before and never really voiced it. Let's take a look back in history when they took the buffalo from the Indians and put them on land that couldn't grow anything. They took their weapons, they took from them their very basic freedoms, and if you don't think that's what they are trying to do, and if you don't think that's what they are trying to do to us today, please stop and rethink things and take a closer look at the big picture. I've already actually said that to Miss Kitty before, man. It's exactly, man, but in worldwide, man. Bill Gates is paying the large feed production companies millions to put these hormones in every kind of feed that you can name, and some you couldn't. Just as he is screwing around with our bees, and that is also really happening. Doug's, from Doug and Stacy, video he done the other day on the bee situation was totally truthful. To give you another example, hubby has prostate cancer, and his doctor is one of the best in this country. Was actually on the research side for many years before going private practice, and one of the first things he told him was he had to stop eating beef because the hormones that was given to them from birth until death actually feeds the cancer cells. And I can tell you for sure, since he has stopped eating beef, his levels dropped greatly. And just so you don't think it's from treatment that they dropped, hubby refused any kind of treatment. See, and I've read and heard that. You know, we eat beef, man. We try to get... You know, I mean, I've bought some at the stores, man. We just had, you know, that chili that, well, I guess it's actually over on our Patreon, but Cara and Kitty did white chili yesterday. You can go to Patreon and check it out. And, you know, it was hamburger beef that we'd actually got way back from them, but it was store-bought, that's what I was getting at. But we try to get, you know, grass-fed, local. Man, we live around tons of that, you know, man. I help with cattle during the season, all that, so I'd rather just hamburger up some elk. Man, I'd eat elk. Elk and buffalo is the two things I'd really like to be eating. Yeah, and a deer here and there. All right. They are trying everything to control what we, country folk, are able to produce to sustain ourselves, being they are trying to control our fuels, wood stoves, gas stoves, products in the store, and you haven't seen anything yet. And if we as Americans don't wake the hell up really quickly, what they did to the Indian nations will look like a Sunday church picnic. Man, this is so true. As you know, their intentions were to totally destroy the Indians, and they almost got it done. And what they think they have in store for the American people today, well, like I said, will make what they did to the Indians like a walk in the park. Sorry, this is kind of small writing too. The jab was only the beginning of trying to cut down the population. I have had several very close friends and family members to be made to take the jab that within 1 month of getting it, they developed heart problems and other things, kidney failure, blood clots, breathing problems, and I could keep going. And today, all 8 of them are dead. And they thought at the time that was the only choice they had to keep their jobs. In fact, that is what they were told. And most of them were very young and was scared they would lose their homes, cars, etc. That's horrible, man. Just like with the Indians, the Civil War, what we're going through today is once again due to the Democrappers. Yes, there are a few sorry Republicans as well, but the Republicans is not out to destroy the American people and this great nation like the demos have been trying to do for many generations. You know, that, you know, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat, man, remember that. But I would have to agree with that, you know, to a point. And then left wing, man, the left wing guys. But there's a lot of far right. That, you know, far right and the far left are both freaking woo cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So I just want to say thank you for having the courage, knowledge, and the love for a nation and most of its people to try and tell them what is really happening and what is coming. And I hate reading off computers. What is coming from within their own government. It's odd how some 50 years ago, a man whom everyone thought was nothing more than just a cow-kicking country boy that really didn't know anything, named Harry S. Truman, stood on the front steps of the library the day he dedicated it And in part, if we as a nation does not turn back to a God-fearing nation, we will surely fall, and not a single shot will be fired by any of our known enemies, but will come from within the confine of the four walls of our own government. Amen. Isn't it funny how damn smart he seems today? Even way back then, he was trying to tell us. But just as some are still doing today, we're all just crazy. Well, don't know about you and Miss Kitty, but if that is how they define crazy, I am glad I'm crazy. That I'm not blinded to what is going on around us. I can't speak for other people, but I can tell you this: when the food runs out in the stores, and it's going to, people are going to become violent, desperate to feed their families, and folks like you guys, hubby and I, and many others better be prepared to protect what is theirs. The only thing I can say to that is hubby and I both are ready to meet our makers, and I really hope whoever comes here is ready also, because they just might not get another chance to get ready to meet theirs. Yeah, that's, man, I just had to share that. Like I said, I ain't saying her name, but man, that was, thank you for letting me share that. Like I said, reading off the computer, I read all the time, man. I'd much rather be reading off a piece of paper, or even the phone's better than this computer. It does such weird crap. Okay, let me see if I was going to read anymore, because this is where she talks about where they're at and stuff. Oh, that's it, but thank you very much. And that, man, you could touch and go on that just all day long. There's so much truth, and there is so many, I get so many messages and comments and everything from so many out there that totally get it, man. And that's, we all need to be, watching your top knot, man, watching your six, just, oh man, this is just the beginning too. I'm so afraid and so sorry to say that you ain't seen nothing yet. It's gone, we're in a bad way, folks. Stuff I didn't, still, I've been watching the stuff. I'm not going to get into the bees and all that stuff right now. I'm going back and forth on that. Not that I ain't saying they ain't doing it, because they're definitely doing it. But one of the things I was reading, and actually Muskrat had told me too, that there's one thing that they're trying to do, because it's killing, that's because we're losing so many bees. But are they, trying to help the bees on this hand and shoving a little extra here and there? You just don't know with these crazy mothers. All right, man, so that's just a little, man, there's a little something for you to think on today. I ponder it all the time, man, and like I said, there's so many other things that, I don't know if you want to call it we're in process, or we're pondering, or what you want to call it, that everything from changing, the way, what foods and stuff we feed our chickens and rabbits and all that stuff, to, trying to eat, drink healthier and all, oh dude, it's just so dang scary out there. Anyway, that's really all I got for you today, man. I just wanted to share that. You can go over to go over to Patreon and see Cara and Miss Kitty did a white chili over there, man. So go over there and check that out. It's great. I know I was watching I think it was the replay of a live show, Doug and Stacy's live show. Just to say that you can agree to disagree, because he did one little spill. Obviously, he don't like or care for Patreon too much, so he said some negative stuff about Patreon. Man, that's everybody. Like I said, that's why we all live in America. But I have channels that I'm subscribed to, and there's a lot of stuff that I get. Actually, there's one channel that's not even on YouTube, but there's a lot of stuff, and I like Patreon, man, that's his thing, on it or whatever, so, but we have a Patreon channel. I don't even know, I'm a patron to other channels and stuff, a few, and I enjoy it, man. So that's my take on that. I'm not sure why he don't or anything like that. I'll talk to him about it sometimes, see what his, thing is on that. But everybody, that's why we all live in America, man. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Helps keep the lights on, the home fires burning, them propane tanks, fool. Check out the eBay store and other links down below, the t-shirts and the Patreon. Good Lord willing, them creeks don't rise. We'll be back again tomorrow. See ya.